Ted Jubal.
This morning we are talking about Light the Night. It's taking place this Saturday night at Herkamp Park in Fredericksburg. Paige Givens is with us. She is with Light the Night. She's a campaign specialist. Paige, good to have you here this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for getting up early and coming in from Richmond to talk about
Absolutely.
the Saturday event. Also here is Paul Nichols and his two of his kids, Thomas Nichols and Anna Nichols. Paul, thank you and for bringing your family and coming in and sharing your story this morning.
Well, thanks for having us, Ted. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this.
Thomas, we have met you. We hear you frequently. We hear you also, Paul, on a commercial that is running in this area. And Thomas, we're going to hear from you as we go along this morning. But good to hear you. You're someone who has raised a lot of money. You're someone who has dealt with cancer. Thanks for getting up and joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Good to have you here, and we also have Anna Nichols, who has been a big help, I know, with fundraising and encouraging her brother. So Anna, it is good to have you here too.
It's good to be here.
Thank you, Paige. I'm going to start off with you. The event is Saturday night at Herkamp Park in Fredericksburg, and let's talk about just some of the logistics. The event itself, the actual signing up starts at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Talk about what happens on Saturday night for Light the Night.
Okay, so registration will start at 5. It'll go for about an hour. And then between 6 and 6:15, we will start our remembrance ceremony to remember those lives who have been lost and also to celebrate the survivors who are with us that night. And the walk itself will then start at 7. And we'll have a quick little walk route, and everyone can carry their lit balloons. And it's really beautiful and inspiring.
It is. For people that haven't seen it, because it occurs at night and because it's a solemn kind of thing, because there's hope, but there's also in the case when you're dealing with cancer, there's remembrance aspect.
Absolutely.
The Leukemia Lymphoma Society is behind Light the Night. Why don't you talk about what's the work of the Leukemia Lymphoma Society?
Well, our mission is to cure leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and myeloma, and improve the quality of life of our patients and their families. LLS exists to find cures and ensure access to treatments for blood cancer patients. We are the world's largest voluntary health organization dedicated to funding blood cancer research, education, and patient services. And specifically, our Virginia chapter offers services and education for blood cancer patients and their families, as well as medical professionals and the general public across the Commonwealth. You're
involved right now, really involved with these type of events.
Yes.
The one in Fredericksburg's one of many that is going on
Absolutely.
now over the next couple of weeks. We want to talk about just how busy you're going to be?
Right. So just here in Virginia, we have 4 walks. Our first walk will be this Thursday in the Peninsula area, the Hampton Roads area. Then we'll have Fredericksburg on Saturday. And then the following Saturday, the 26th, we'll have our walk in Richmond, which is our largest. And then we'll have our final walk on November 2nd in Virginia Beach.
So, and the goal of these, there are a number of different levels, but one of the goals is for people to join a team or be on a team or walk for themselves and raise some money.
Absolutely. So to register, people can go to www.lightthenight.org or give us a call at 804-673-5690, and we can register them or help you register online, registering a team, or absolutely walking as an individual. There's no fee to register, but we do encourage every walker to hit that $100 mark or more. We call that our Champions for Cures. And for those people who hit the $100 mark, they receive a balloon to walk with that has a little light inside the night of, a Light the Night t-shirt, and a wristband that will get them access to the food area.
Paul, you've been somebody who's been touched by cancer, and we're going to get into your story and your family's story and Thomas's story as we go along this morning. But as someone who's been involved with the walk, talk about just what the walk has meant to you.
Well, this is going to be Team Thomas's 7th walk. We found out about Light the Night by accident, basically, in 2007, about a month after Thomas was diagnosed. At that point, we went on it. We were still relatively new to the whole the whole childhood cancer world, and it was very inspiring. Thomas couldn't make the whole walk. We had to put him in a stroller to get the final half mile done. But it really united the family. A lot of the community came out and supported it, and it's how it's been ever since. It's a very, very inspirational event.
Well, and you've been somebody, and your family's been somebody that has raised money and gotten people involved. And as you tell that story, it's obvious this is you get more out of it if you try to get more people, bring more people in.
Yes, and that's true. And Thomas has a lot of dedicated people from all over the world contributing, from Australia to Germany to England to Czech Republic, all over the United States, Canada. And every year these people come and contribute again and again. And they do it, both he and Anna do it through a couple of different ways. One, they'll basically hog tie me and make me send out emails. Usually people can tell when Thomas is one dictating to me what to say because, well, he speaks that way. The other way is lemonade stands. They do those every once in a while, and then they'll hang out at stores or go to different stores, try to get the support from them. And we do get a lot of support from the community, from the stores. And additionally, they will go out to around the neighborhood, go door to door, pass out flyers, and just meet and greet people, have a nice talk with them, and good way to get out and push the cause.
I did not realize that you had such a worldwide base, but that's terrific that you've been able to do that. Thomas, you've been involved in a few of these walks, and your dad talked about just some of the fundraising. What do you like about Light the Night?
I like how a lot of people are donating money, so so we're closer to finding a cure for cancer.
You did I understand that last weekend you did something at in front of the Giant, and we're talking to a lot of people. Talk about when you were talking to people, what you found out, and what'd you talk to them about?
I found out how like a lot of people have had family or they've had cancer, and a pharmacist there has leukemia.
So you've talked to a lot of people, and you're able to tell them your story, in which we'll talk about in a little bit, and they tell you their story.
Yes.
Paul, I guess that's the one thing that Team Thomas is really good at, and you've talked about that, just getting out there, telling Thomas's story, and getting other people to open up, because a lot of us have families or individually, and we're dealing with cancer.
That's exactly true. The biggest eye opener was the community opening up for this. I had no idea in 2007 when Thomas was diagnosed what this world was concerning blood cancer, but it opened up a lot of things. We made a lot of new friends, and as I said, national, worldwide support for this effort, and you really get to see people opening up their hearts, and they actually are interested in Thomas's story. They're inspired by it. On his page, there's countless inspirational messages that he has given.
Well, and I know in 2000, my son was diagnosed with leukemia, and at that point, I quickly realized that there was a whole group of people out there that I didn't know existed. People like, my son was like Thomas, and that was dealing with pediatric cancer. And in this summer, I was diagnosed with a lymphoma, so I'm dealing with cancer myself right now. And it opens your eyes to just a whole group of people and in situations that in a lot of ways you don't realize exist.
It does feel strange when your children are telling you about medical procedures that you have no idea about. I'm guessing your son's probably talking about the effects of being Christian, things like that.
Oh yeah, no, you're right, and he knows he'll say when I took that particular drug, I had that reaction. Right, it's amazing that they know all the names of the drugs. So it is an eye opener. It is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night this Saturday night, and I guess, Paige, that you take a look at Thomas's story and you see that over and over across the state.
Most definitely. There's stories from kids like Thomas all the way to older adults who are just still fighting, who have survived, and the survivor stories are definitely awesome to hear. And those are the ones that we love to hear over and over and over again.
Light the Night, it's Saturday night at Herkamp Park in Fredericksburg. You can sign up, lightthenight.org/Virginia, to find out what's happening in the state. The sign-up starts at 5, and then, as Paige mentioned, the program starts a little after 6, and the walk will go on for a couple of hours through the night. We will continue to talk about this morning on Town Talk. Paul Nichols and his couple of his kids, Thomas and Anna, are here. Paige Givens is here. More coming up on Town Talk on News Talk 1230 WFVA.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then,
can't. Well, you see, Billy, when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have done with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
This is Town Talk with Ted on News Talk 1230 WFVA. Guests appearing on today's show are News Talk 1230 WFVA advertising partners sponsoring this broadcast. Now, back to News Talk 1230's Ted Schubel.
We are talking this morning about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night that takes place Saturday at Herkamp Park. Paige Givens is here. She is the Light the Night campaign specialist with us from Richmond this morning. Also, Paul Nichols, Thomas Nichols, and Anna Nichols are here to really talk about their story in dealing with this. Thomas was diagnosed. Paul, what was it? It was in 07 that he was diagnosed with leukemia.
Yes, it was September 6, 2007.
Talk about leading up to that. I know in the case of my own son, he started complaining that the fall when he was diagnosed of being tired and achy bones, and we didn't know anything about it, and it lingered for a long time. It took doctors a while to figure out what was going on. What's your story?
Well, Thomas was born with allergies, so a lot of things were masked that we didn't see, and we got used to it. Also, he was very anemic. Very skinny, and then right before he was diagnosed, his lymph nodes started popping out all over his body. Lenka, his mom, my wife, she took him to the allergist to see what was going on, and she really forced the issue with the lymph nodes. Then the allergist got a blood draw done up at Fort Belvoir, and from there, the next day it was get Thomas up to Walter Reed and don't stop for anything. But that was basically, there were a lot of things that were going on with him that we didn't recognize because we just didn't know. Mm-hmm. The allergies played into it. On masking these things, we actually went one time to a Tibetan monk in a hotel in Fairfax trying to figure out how to help him. And it's really scary time in our lives.
It is for families, for individuals, because all of a sudden when things aren't working and doctors can't give you answers, there's a lot of the unknown. There's a lot of concern about what's happening here.
And that's true. I'm just really thankful because I was busy working. I'm really thankful that my wife, that Lenka actually pushed the doctor and said, "No, you will do this," and that's how we found out. And
yeah.
I think had it been a little bit longer, I don't think we'll be sitting here talking about it right now.
Thomas, do you remember any of the early days? I'm guessing that you probably don't.
No, I don't.
But since then, when treatment started, how much do you remember of your treatment?
I remember a lot of the lumbar punctures, and how they were accessing my port, and waking up at midnight for a pill, but I can't remember what it's called.
6MP.
Oh yeah, 6MP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
when I met you about a month ago, Thomas, you and your dad, what you told me, Paul, that he had, what was it, 23
spinal
taps,
what Thomas called the lumbar punctures. He had 23 of those every day one of the treatment cycle, which was an 84-day cycle. He would get those 23 spinal taps, 5 bone marrow scrapes, numerous emergency room runs because pop a temperature of 100.3, it could be critical because if the port's infected, the port actually accesses his heart.
Yeah.
So it was pretty difficult. The craziest thing during the whole diagnosis period was the night it happened. I got the word at about 12 o'clock on the 5th to just get him up there to room 5142. Don't stop for anything. Got him up there, so it started numerous blood draws, numerous physicals, checkups. And at 2 in the morning of the 6th, they were going to do a CT scan on him. He had to take contrast. He couldn't do the contrast, so we had an NG tube to go straight down from his nose down to his stomach to get the contrast in there. I remember it was about 2:30. That's when the technicians in CT scan started noticing, because all the lymph nodes, even the ones around his heart, they were all enlarged, and that's when it started hitting. It's like you've got one of 30 things, but we're thinking it's either leukemia or lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the next thing in the morning, he rested from about 2:30 to about 6 or 7, and in the morning is when he got his first bone marrow scrape and his first lumbar puncture. And we're new to this. Lenka had both Anna and Teresa at home, so she was on the way up, and Thomas was spending time trying to tell the doctors how to say hello in Czech when Mom got up there, so that Mom would not be worried about this.
Yeah.
So he's saying this, and they're starting to put him under anesthesia, and then he got a glimpse of the lumbar puncture of the spinal tap needle, and he's like, "You're gonna put that on me?" Like, oh. The one social worker, she was like, "Oh, Thomas, don't worry about this. Kids do this every day." And he was like, "I have to do this every day?" And it just kept on going. But then he started mellowing out, and then he started talking like the robot, which he called for his lumbar punctures once the meds started kicking in.
Yeah. No, it's a scary time, and for not only the patient, but for the family. You're like you just mentioned a minute ago. I mean, you're dealing with medical terms and with medicines and with side effects, and you're dealing with it all of a sudden. It's not like you have a few weeks to read about it and talk about it. It's happening.
And the one thing you realize from the beginning is basically you've got to make decisions that are life-altering, life-threatening decisions, that you've got to make them right there. You can't wait. There's no time to wait and, well, let's talk about this, let's have a council about this. You have to make the decisions then. And you also have to learn to not think about those decisions after they've been made.
Paige, these are the kind of stories I know. I mean, this is why we have events like the night.
Right. Most definitely. And this is definitely why I do what I do. The stories are so touching and inspiring to continue to strive to find the cure for these blood cancers.
Because you think a lot of these, an event like Light the Night, you hear about it and you say, oh, that's nice. You know, maybe I'll do that. But there are so many stories of people that were patients, are patients right now. And it's the whole thing of trying to find a cure for all the cancers that are out there.
Of course. And not only are there survivor stories at Light the Night, the actual event, there's stories from all teams who have a reason for why they're a part of it and why they're doing what they're doing. So even just like our regular participants, they all have a story and they all have been touched in a way to reach out to help make a difference as well.
The event is Saturday at Herkamp Park, and it's not too late, is it, to get involved?
Definitely not too late. Again, registration can be online or over the phone. Online, just go to www.lightthenight.org. or you can give us a call at 804-673-5690.
We are talking with Paige Givens. She is with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society from Richmond this morning. Thomas Nichols is here. He is a cancer survivor. His sister Anna is here, and Paul Nichols is here. More on Town Talk this morning on News Talk 1230 WFVA. It's 8:30.
Okay, listen, we got to talk about something.
Talk done right. News Talk 1230 WFVA.
Yes, by Thursday. This morning we're clear, comfortable. This afternoon, clouds, sun, low 70s. Tonight, some clouds back to the mid-50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, middle 70s. And a chance of showers by Thursday. For News Talk 1230 WFVA, I'm Ray Stajic from the Weather Channel.
This is Town Talk with Ted on News Talk 1230 WFVA. Guests appearing on today's show are News Talk 1230 WFVA advertising partners sponsoring this broadcast. Now, back to News Talk 1230's Ted Schubel.
We are talking about we're talking about Light the Night, the event that takes place Saturday at Herkamp Park in downtown Fredericksburg. Paige Givens with Light the Night is here. Also, Paul Nichols, Thomas Nichols, Anna Nichols, all here. Paige, let's talk a little bit about the work of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, because you do a lot more. Your name is associated with Light the Night every year, but there's a lot of work that you provide, and a lot of services that you provide to people. Talk about what the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society does.
Well, I'll start with that. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society has invested more than $875 million in research to advance therapies and to save lives for those who have been diagnosed with blood cancers. We also that funding that we provide is from basic research through clinical trials. And funding supports the training of the next generation of the first-rate cancer researchers. We support 2 local researchers. One is Dr. Stephen Grant. He's at VCU Medical Center in Richmond, and Dr. Thomas Logren Jr. at UVA Medical as well. And then as far as providing support for patients here in Virginia, LLS also offers a lot of free comprehensive services and support programs for blood cancer patients and their families. Across the state, we offer the First Connection program for newly diagnosed cancer patients and their families to talk with others who have faced the same diagnosis. And then lastly, we also have a back-to-school program for children with cancer in locations across the Commonwealth to educate school personnel and pediatric healthcare professionals about the effects of cancer treatments on children and their reintegration into schools after treatment.
So it's important if someone finds themselves in a situation where they've got they themselves or a loved one with cancer, to check out the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. There are things out there. Do you offer any kind of direct financial aid? Right.
So LLS is one of the only few health charities that provides direct financial support to patients. Within our last fiscal year, we distributed $808,000 to over 425 Virginia blood cancer patients who applied for our patient financial aid and copay assistance programs.
Okay, so it is worthwhile to check out the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and what might be there. Is funding, does it come from things like Light the Night and other fundraisers?
Absolutely. So we have many fundraising campaigns associated with LLS, from Team in Training, Man Woman of the Year, the Leukemia Cup Regatta, as well as Light the Night. And all of these fundraising efforts go directly towards these funding programs, from patient services to our research.
It is not too late to get involved with Light the Night either. It's
definitely not
it's
too
coming
late.
up. You can join yourself. You can spend the rest of the week, like Paul has talked about, sending out emails or going around the office.
As soon as you register online, it will create a donation page for you, and you can send a quick email out to your friends and family, letting them know of your donation page, and they can make donations directly online or send you cash and check. But it's definitely not too late, and any donations are greatly appreciated.
My daughter told me that she signed up just the other day, and that she went around her office and did her Sunday school class and is doing that kind of thing. So it's
Right.
it's not too late.
Our biggest push is you just have to ask. It's amazing if you just say a few words to somebody. You never know where they're coming from and how they've already been impacted. And so just making that ask can go a long way.
Paul, you were telling me that when we were discussing this off the air, just about it not being too late, that you got involved late in the game in '07 and still raised some serious cash.
Yes, we found out about the Light Tonight about a week before. At this point, we're about 3 weeks into treatment, about a month into treatment. We found out about it, so we figured check it out now. I sent an email out, made the page, and within about 5 days, he had raised $1,900, and that's what we finished that walk with. And it just expanded from there. But it isn't too late, and it's relatively easy once you do go onto the site and come up with a page. I'd recommend putting something personal in there, why you're doing this, and then set your goal, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, and then send an email out and just ask if they can donate $5, $10, $15. And that's how it happens. The other thing that happened in 2009, our oldest finally got Facebook. So we got Facebook, and that really pumped it out too. It was 2008, I'm sorry. Because once we were doing emails, then we also did Facebook. We were actually able to do pictures and tie all this in together. And from $1,900 on 2007, he went up to $8,022 in 2008, and it's just been going ever since.
Wow, Thomas, and I guess with you said before you like when people give, and to get them to give, you ask.
What?
So, well, Anna, let me ask you. You've been with your brother through and seen him being sick and recover. You've been involved with fundraising. What do you like about being on Team Thomas?
I like it that we fundraise and help kids who have cancer.
Okay.
What's the biggest thing that you like about it, though?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, what about when you talk to neighbors?
You talk to neighbors about your brother and asking them to give? Do you do that?
Yeah.
And what about your friends?
They're technically my neighbors.
Okay, talk to them like.
Okay, Anna. Thomas, when I talked to you before, you told me that one of the things with cancer, that one of your hopes was that in research, and you hope that someday, and you wished you could have just taken a pill one day.
Yes.
And be done with cancer. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what all of the fundraising you're doing. You're hoping that some of the researchers that Paige talked about, that some of the doctors, that maybe they'll be able to do that. Because you went through your dad's talked about it. You went through a pretty tough time.
Mm-hmm.
How talk about the pill that you wished that they could have.
I wish that the pill could once you eat it, within 24 hours, your cancer is gone.
Yep, that's the goal. Paul, as you and your family have gotten involved with fundraising, obviously you've taken the approach that we're going to ask, and people can give or they can not give. But you've been really successful in getting people involved, and I think if they get involved, they learn more about Thomas, and they learn more about just the struggle with cancer.
And that's a very good point. I mean, that's the whole reason for this. People actually do. I'm not afraid to send out emails. It's a lot easier when Thomas will sit down next to me on the couch and say, "Hey, type this into it," because I don't feel so guilty about sending out the emails. But he'll dictate to me, and then we'll send it out. And the good thing about it is that I honestly believe that people want to give. They just need to have a reason for it. And when you see, Thomas right now is 11, Anna's 10, and you see these two going around the neighborhood, you see them going to stores, you see them passing out flyers, doing lemonade stands, it's very easy to sell it. people see, it's like, well, yeah, they really do care. And then there's other people who've been treated, who are in treatment that Thomas has gone to talk to, and he's been an inspiration for him. That one gentleman at the Giant last week is just an example of it. He went, the man's sister walked through, and she saw the Leukemia Lymphoma Society sign, and so she started asking questions. Found out Thomas was a survivor, and she goes, I'm coming to visit my brother. I'm taking him lunch. So Thomas went in with her, and they talked. I wasn't there for the talk. I was out. Anna and I were outside at the table, and Thomas came back out, and then afterwards we all went in and talked to him for a little bit.
Well, and you've really made this a family affair. The whole family gets involved.
Oh, yes. Our oldest daughter, she's up at George Washington University. She sends out the flyers. She does the same thing up there, but she also sings the national anthem to kick off each year. This will be her 4th year doing it. She'll be coming down here, I think, Friday or maybe Saturday morning.
Okay.
Then we'll have people coming in from Pittsburgh, family from Pittsburgh. So it's pretty, definitely family focused. And then as these two are getting a little bit older, I don't know how they're gonna have that much fun at the place with the kids stuff, the face painting, all that stuff. But it's a good time. It's a good time for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed that both Thomas and Anna are wearing Team Thomas wristbands. So you've done some things to get involved. To get others involved. Got some in your pocket there, Thomas? Mm-hmm. Some Team Thomas wristbands. So, you're giving me one. All right. Well, thank you. I will wear this. I will wear this with pride, Thomas. Paige, as you hear you hear their stories, and I mean, you hear this kind of stuff. You hear this kind of stuff every day, I know. Most
definitely. There are people who call in who are recently diagnosed, who are just looking for a helping hand, or they're calling in to register for the walks because they are survivors. We get all sorts of calls, and just people who want to help day in and day out.
Well, and when you take a look at the one of the statistics I've seen, more than 1 million people in the U.S. are living with or are in remission from blood cancer. It's
right.
Cancer is something that has touched in some way everybody.
Every 4 minutes, someone's diagnosed with blood cancer, and every 10 minutes, someone's dying. So that's just empowering us to work a little bit harder and a little bit faster to continue to fund the research to help put an end to these cancers.
Again, tell us about Light the Night, Saturday night at Herkamp Park in Fredericksburg, and how we can get involved.
All right. So it will be Saturday night. As we said at the top of the show, registration will begin at 5 p.m. We'll have our remembrance ceremony a little after 6, and the walk itself will be starting at 7. The walk route's just a little less than 2 miles around the downtown Fredericksburg area. To register, just go to www.lightthenight.org or give us a call at 804-673-5690.
Paige Givens is with Light the Night. Paul Nichols is here along with Thomas Nichols and Anna Nichols. More on town.